Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And when writer Jonathan Hickman introduced us to a new Ultimate Universe, he built it on a foundation of secrets. Because this Marvel Universe has many familiar elements, but they were all radically reshaped and guided by the Maker, one of the last survivors of the former Ultimate Universe. He created a new order, eventually culminating in the formation of the Maker's Council. And a major component of that order involved making sure no superheroes or superhero teams emerged. That allowed him and his council to forge and guide this new world, but they were not able to sustain it. And after the Maker was defeated, other conflicts emerged from the chaos. And fittingly, Wakanda has become the front line of those conflicts. Ultimate Black Panther has established that, despite the Maker's vast reach, neither he nor his council could subjugate Wakanda. King T'Challa, alongside his wife Okoye, have managed to maintain the African nation's tradition of resisting influence from outside powers. The first issue showed us a vision of Wakanda that's advanced, resourceful, and strong, but the second issue showed us that it's not immune to outside influence. After the death of T'Challa's father, Wakanda has gone to war, and Khonshu and Ra, two members of the Maker's Council, are looking to succeed where the Maker failed. But even as Wakanda goes to war, there are strong hints that other secrets and agendas are in play here. T'Challa himself suspects that there are traitors within his home, and that treachery is part of what led to the death of his father. But Ultimate Black Panther number 3 expands on some of those secrets and agendas even more, and some of the implications extend far beyond Wakanda's survival as a nation. Now, before I go any further, I want to give a standard spoiler warning, because as I've been following every new Ultimate title, I feel like Ultimate Black Panther is starting to make more connections than most. We already know a new version of the Ultimates is set to form, intent on taking the fight to the Maker's Council, but this series really feels like a prelude to that battle. So, if you're ready to be spoiled, Ultimate Black Panther 3 starts by highlighting the lingering tension within Wakanda. Since T'Challa has gone off to fight on his own, uncertain of who he can trust, it's on Okoye and Princess Shuri to keep things in order. But that clearly does not sit well with either of them, especially Shuri. Not knowing where her king/brother is really does bother her, and it bothers Okoye as well, and not just because she's acting ruler in his absence. She basically has to lie to her people about where T'Challa is, and even if Okoye is married to T'Challa, that doesn't mean Shuri fully trusts her. It leads to a tense exchange, followed by some hand-to-hand training that doesn't really feel like training. Not a whole lot needs to be said here. These are two of Wakanda's best warriors. They're supposed to be strong in T'Challa's absence, but neither one of them comes off as certain of the current plan. Given that the last issue hinted at a traitor in their mix, the tension is on full display here. It really feels like they both suspect one another, and given how little they know about Khonshu and Ra's agenda, it feels equally likely that one of them could be the culprit. But at the same time, they still have to work together for the sake of their homeland. Shuri wants to believe in her brother, and even if their marriage is more political than romantic, Okoye wants to believe in her husband. But neither one of them understands the larger forces at work here, and it's really on T'Challa to figure it out. But his guide in this endeavor is Eric Killmonger. He and Storm were the ones who helped save him from Khonshu and Ra's forces in the previous issue, and while T'Challa was understandably enamored with Storm, Killmonger is the one who holds his attention for much of this issue. He reveals that he is fully Wakandan. However, he doesn't entirely reveal why he's been living outside its borders. There may or may not be more personal reasons for that, but Killmonger's motivations here are fairly consistent with what has guided him in other mediums. He's not content simply living in the isolated, technologically advanced paradise that Wakanda offers. He sees too many people who look like him suffering all over the world. Now that certainly has plenty of connotations, some of which are plenty political, but in this new Ultimate Universe, there are some other factors in play. Because remember, this is a Marvel Universe with a very different history and power structure. This is a Marvel Universe where one man upended the entire international order. But that order did not make things better for everyone. In fact, we could probably assume that it didn't make things better for anyone who wasn't in league with the Maker's Council. Ultimately, it just exchanged one unjust system of power for another. And now with the Maker gone, that system is in chaos, and the door is open for anyone bold, foolish, and ruthless enough to fill the void. And this is where Africa plays a major role, and not solely because of Wakanda and its role as a bulwark against outside powers. Because the continent itself has a secret that is one of great interest to the Maker's Council. Killmonger claims to know that secret. He even says he's willing to show it to T'Challa, bearing in mind that he barely knows this man or the woman who fights alongside him. Even so, T'Challa still chooses to follow along, and Killmonger ends up blindfolding him before taking him to the entrance to this ancient cave. It looks cool, but it's old, it runs deep, and it predates them, the Maker's Council, and all of Wakanda. Furthermore, Killmonger claims that this is what they have to prevent Khonshu and Ra from finding. Together, they enter the cave, courtesy of Storm's guidance. Along the way, they find deposits of vibranium. And in most Marvel universes, that's plenty valuable enough to motivate any invasion. But Killmonger claims that it's not entirely what Khonshu and Ra are after. They keep on venturing deeper, and T'Challa has more opportunities to interact with Storm. Now, she doesn't get a chance to say much, which feels kind of like a missed opportunity for this issue, but what she says largely aligns with what Killmonger has said. She also adds that what they thought they knew about Wakanda was incomplete, and if they're to protect it and the whole of Africa, they need to help each other. Now, that's asking a lot, and that seems to be a recurring theme in this issue as well as the previous issue. Nobody seems to know who to trust, and nobody seems to know all the facts either. It paints a mysterious yet messy scenario, as tends to be the case with any war. But by the end of this issue, the stakes feel a lot higher. Because when T'Challa, Storm, and Killmonger get to the center of the cave, they find this big, glowing green orb surrounded by skeletons. It's not entirely clear what it is. It's not an infinity stone, a cosmic cube, or anything of the sort. But it's also not vibranium. Storm then says outright that this is something they cannot let Khonshu and Ra get. That ends Ultimate Black Panther number 3 on a frustratingly vague note, but I think it still works because it establishes that this war isn't just about Wakanda or its precious deposits of vibranium. There are other powers in play here, and it's one the Maker's Council has a keen interest in securing. Now, what this means is still not clear, but it effectively provides real, tangible stakes, exposing a secret that helps put this conflict with Wakanda in a new context, one that could potentially spill over into other parts of the Ultimate Universe. The potential connections are definitely there, it's just a matter of how they'll manifest. Overall, Ultimate Black Panther number 3 slowed things down after all the wars and political drama of the first 2 issues. Also feels like Storm didn't get enough to do, whereas Killmonger really stole the show here. But it does provide intriguing new details about this war and its connection to the rest of the Ultimate Universe. It also makes clear that there are still plenty more secrets to come, and more than a few of them are not going to sit well with T'Challa. And how he ultimately responds? That'll be a true test of his abilities as both King and as Black Panther. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me in my world. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, take care and stay safe.